Hello, Easton, and welcome to the Rabbi's Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, Rabbi at Temple B'nai Israel, and we're coming to you from the studios of MCTV in the basement of the Avalon Theater, and I'm very excited. I have a very special guest, a dear friend, a very knowledgeable television behind the scenes.
I'm retired. I'm retired.
I know.
From MCTV.
But that's, I mean, you helped me do this years ago.
That's right.
Cece Storm is with us. Some of you will recognize her from her work in not only as a photographer locally, but her work at MCTV. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you very much.
It's an honor.
She's now a mother of two.
Three babies.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
I lost count. Sorry about that.
I know. We should go for a 4th. Just round it out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
And Cece's a native of Cambridge. She has a college degree in contemporary theater and film from the #1 drama school in London.
It was not, full disclosure, it was not the #1 drama school when I attended.
Okay.
But it is now, and I'm going to take it because why not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
It's called S15E09 Acting School. And it's famous for, if you know anything about theater or acting technique, when Stanislavski really changed how people were taught acting and how actors performed, a bunch of Americans went to Russia to meet with him and learn from him. And they all came back, and Lee Strasberg formed the Actors Studio in New York, and a bunch went to NYU all around. There was one British woman that went with them, and her name was Joan Littlewood. And when they all went back to America, she went back to London and formed my school.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cece's had very successful tenures at the Avalon Foundation, Rise Up Coffee, and as I said, she owns and operates her own photography studio, and she's been doing that since 2015.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Amazing. And you can learn more on her website, which is
CecilyStorm.com. And I Nick, make it
yes,
be at the bottom.
They'll put it on the bottom. Well, thank you for being on the Rabbi's Roundtable.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you for a number of reasons, and we are going to talk about a very interesting play.
Yeah.
Tell us the title.
It's called Stage Fright. That was not its first title, but it's where we ended up, and I love it so much.
And when was it written?
It was written 9 years ago. Okay. Some of you may remember 8 or 9 years ago, we did an original Christmas play at the Avalon called the Santa Diaries.
I remember that.
The lead of that play, K.C. Rao, at that time experienced a lot of like supernatural stuff that happens in this theater, because at the time it was very haunted. And it inspired him to write a play about Marguerite, the ghost of the Avalon.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, so that's what it is. I don't think the picture is up there now, but there used to be a picture in the lobby of the theater of a line of showgirls. Marguerite is sort of the one in the center that makes very intense eye contact with you as you walk past.
I remember that from a long time ago.
Yeah, and actually that photograph is on some of the banners that are around town.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, so Marguerite was a real showgirl who died in the theater and haunts it. I'm not 100% sure how much is like accurate or true, but over the years, anyone who's spent a significant amount of time in the building has had an experience with Marguerite.
Oh, neat.
So there's kind of this lore that has grown up around it. So Casey very cleverly integrated that into the script. And initially it was a screenplay. I read it 9 years ago, absolutely loved it, and then completely forgot about it until earlier this year. We were doing a play in Oxford, Casey and I, with Tim Wigan, and I don't know how it came up, but we started talking about it again, and I was like, Casey, dust off that script. Let's see what we could do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell us a little more about it. It's really interesting.
So we could have just staged it as like sort of a traditional play on the stage, but that would be boring, Rabbi. Why would we want to do something that's boring? So we've decided to do what is called a site specific, because the piece was written specifically for the Avalon Theater. Okay. The Avalon Theater will serve as the set for this play.
Oh, wow.
So actually very little action takes place on the stage. Most of the scenes are going to happen throughout the building.
The building, oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So one of our taglines is burn the seats. And that's us trying to prep the audience a little bit for there are not going to be many seats, especially in the main room of the theater. There will be very few seats.
Wow.
Yeah, there's going to be some walking involved.
That's a whole different perspective. Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Have you had more experience with this kind of a production before?
Yes, actually, my degree is in contemporary theater and film, like you said,
Right.
and part of my training was devising pieces from scratch. My school really wanted to train actors who were self-sufficient and didn't need to just go on cattle calls. If you weren't having successful auditions, create your own work and make it avant-garde, make it thrilling and something that will create a stir.
Sure.
So I have a lot of experience in this, and I've also worked professionally with a couple theater companies who specialize in these type of site-specific immersive theatrical productions. It's like I like to describe it as if a haunted house and an art installation had a baby, it would be this play.
Oh, how interesting! That's fascinating. I'm excited about this. What can the audience then expect? They're going to be asked to move, and oh wow.
Yeah. So when the audience comes in, they're going to walk in to a theater, and they won't recognize the room, is what hopefully will happen. The first act of the piece takes place on the main floor of the theater. The second act is when it gets really crazy, and there will be 5 scenes happening simultaneously throughout the building that will loop. And the audience will kind of wander and find what they find and see what they see and touch what they touch. The audience could be this close to a performer in the middle of a scene. And we're really being ambitious. I mean, we have smellscapes that we're working on so that when people enter certain spaces, there will be an evocative smell that takes them to a place or time. The lighting is going to be very dark. We're not going to use much theatrical lighting. It's going to be like household fixtures or a strobe light probably because it's Halloween. And then, even taste. We're going to build 2 speakeasies. So we're going to have signature cocktails. The play takes place during Prohibition, so we're even going to serve them in little coffee cups like they would have done.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be a police raid, maybe, potentially, possibly. Oh my God, I'm giving away all the spoilers. But anyway, and then in Act 3, the audience is brought back down, sort of herded together and brought back down for our finale. But what the audience can expect is, this is so cliche, but I hope that they could expect the unexpected. I want them to expect a thrilling experience where they're completely immersed in a world and they feel like they're walking through a movie.
Well, this sounds really unique and unusual.
Yeah.
So there's every reason not only to expect it, but if that's how you guys are programming it, it's probably going to happen.
Totally. And we've been having discussions amongst the cast about what are people going to do when this happens? What are people going to do in this? And my answer to them is, I don't know. We can prepare, and this is sort of our approach when I've done this professionally, is it's kind of the magic of it, of we as the performers know what we have to do, and we're going to be in character and living inside the world of the play for 90 minutes, for the length of the performance. The audience is going to come in, and the audience is going to do whatever they do. And we're going to react and adapt to it.
Wow.
And through my experience in doing pieces like this and having seen them, you as the audience member, there are 2 things that can happen. You can either put up your defenses because it's such a new experience and it's crazy, it's wild.
Well, that's basic human nature to begin with.
Totally. Or you can throw yourself into it and search and be a part of it. Put yourself in the scene.
Try to connect and engage. Wow.
And honestly, either path you choose, it's going to be an enriching and very cool experience.
Absolutely unique for sure.
Yeah.
Should the audience dress any specific way? Do we need to, what do we need to do?
I would love it. So the play takes place in 1927. It would be so cool if the audience dressed up. And even if they came in Halloween costumes, Halloween costumes or in 1920s garb, I think would be so cool. And a thing that we're going to do is make all of the audience wear masks. And we're in a post-COVID world. I don't mean these masks, I mean these masks. So when the audience comes in and gets their ticket, they're going to get a program and they're going to be told they have to put a mask on. And the reason for this is so that we, the performers, can differentiate cast members from audience members, especially if they're dressed up.
And if the lighting is low.
Exactly,
sure,
it's kind of hard to see. The other reason is that mask kind of acts as armor for the audience. It releases these inhibitions, like it really changes the way you approach things when you're suddenly made anonymous. We've even talked about actively separating groups potentially so that people have to kind of create their own journey, find their own adventure.
This is going to be fabulous. And you're the primary motivation behind this? Or?
Yes. So I'm the director, and Casey Rao is the writer.
Right.
Jenny Medino and Kevin Moore are the two lead actresses. And then, it's kind of the usual suspects from we have such a wealth of creativity, especially when it comes to stagecraft in our community. So the set is being designed by Maggie Sarfati, and I say set, but really the building is the set.
The building is the set.
So it's more about, we're trying to hide modern things or like kind of create that haunted house art installation feel. But yeah, we've got an incredible production team. The cast is so cool and diverse and fun.
That whole image of a haunted house and an art project.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful image when you think about it.
It's going to be so cool. My favorite thing that we're doing is we're building a life-size replica of the elevator inside the theater. Like on the floor where the chairs would be, where the audience would normally sit, is going to be the elevator. It's so cool.
Oh, I can't wait. And what are the dates?
So we open on October 26th, and we're going to run through the 30th. So our last show will be the Sunday before Halloween. Halloween's on a Monday this year.
Okay.
And so many of us have kids, so we're not actually going to do a Halloween show. And then we're still sort of working out, but we want to do a couple late shows. So we'll maybe do maybe on the Friday, we'll do a 7 p.m. and then like a 9 p.m. showing for, maybe a younger crowd that wants to come after they've had a couple drinks at the bar.
Do you think it's a play for kids, or is it a little older kids, or not even? Yeah.
Some of the subject matter is dark, I would say. The state the play is in right now, I would say it's PG-13. But because of these speakeasy elements, we're thinking about a minimum age of 16, but we're still kind of working through those pieces. And honestly, I trust parents to know what they feel is appropriate for their kids. But we'll definitely have lots of information when you go to buy tickets and things like that about the appropriateness level and all that kind of stuff.
So, and where can we find out more?
So right now, I would say actually go to my Instagram.
Okay.
My Instagram is @CecilyStorm, and almost every day I'm either posting something or talking about the show. Actually literally just this morning I did kind of an Ask Me Anything on my stories. So right now on my stories, you can I answered 30 questions about the show. So there's a lot of information there, and then as soon as the tickets go on sale, there will be tons of information on the Avalon website.
It sounds really engaging, really creative. I can't wait. I will be there without question.
And actually, let me say this kind of as a final thing. This show may not be for everyone. I think that if you would not go to a haunted cornfield and be chased by chainsaws, this may not be the show for you. It's not going to be that. It's definitely more elevated, more sophisticated. There's a real story that's happening. There are truthful, genuine performances. But it is Halloween and it's going to be very scary, and you know what I mean. So it may not be for everyone, and that's okay.
That's not everything is for everyone.
Right.
But again, what caught my attention very powerfully was the haunted house and art project.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be thinking about that. I may even give a sermon about that closer to Halloween.
It'd be amazing. Yay!
But no, this is really exciting. Again, we've been talking to CC Storm, and CC is extremely talented, as you've just seen, and experienced, and we look forward. And again, the title of the play is
Stage Fright. Will you have me back? Promise me now on camera in front of everyone. Have me back right before, in early October.
Absolutely. Just send me an email.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll have like a better idea of lots of different things about it because we're still in rehearsal.
No, let's do that because I really do. I think this is really interesting and sounds hugely engaging.
Yeah, it will.
So we have been talking with CC Storm about the music, about the movie.
Stage Fright.
Stage Fright. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more about it closer to showing. Thank you for being here. You will be back on the Rabbi's Roundtable.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Easton, we will be back momentarily.
The Avalon Foundation and MCTV programming is proudly supported by Easton Hardware and Floor Covering. Since 1939, we're still there and we still care.
I got the shot, man, because I believe in the science.
I got vaccinated so I could hug my 5 kids and 14 grandkids.
We all got vaccinated
because we want to see you back in the theater.
Well, as a survivor of COVID, I really did it for other people.
I've also had the virus. I do not want it again.
We got COVID and then they sent me to Johns Hopkins. Oh my gosh, it's the worst thing anyone could ever go through.
I genuinely feel like it's my patriotic duty to get vaccinated.
Do it for your state, do it for your country, do it for you.
I talked to my friends and family in India and Pakistan, and they don't have that access whatsoever.
I'm tired of Zoom. You're tired of Zoom.
It's my turn to take a chance.
Take advantage of that privilege.
Get the vaccine, please, for me, for your family.
And I got it because of what she said.
And we are back, Easton, and welcome to the Rabbi's Roundtable. Again, I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, and we're coming to you from the studios of MCTV in the basement of the Avalon Theater. And my second guest, to whom I owe all of this, actually. If it wasn't for you, this is 15 years ago. How
is it 15 years
ago? It's 15 years ago. Isn't that nuts? Tim Wigan. Tim is so known to so many of us in town. He is the director of marketing, the marketing director for the Avalon Foundation and for the theater. And you used to be the director, weren't you the...
Well, it's funny because you say everybody knows, we all know each other, but you don't really know what I do. You just learned my title,
Well, you know, you used to be the
I was down here for a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Then what happened is when Facebook started taking over the advertising market, I felt like there wasn't enough time to do the advertising and the television at the same time. And I told Jess and Al, I said that you're going to need to really focus on this. There's going to be too big of a job, social marketing, for one person to do two of this job and that job. And then we hired Nick. So I don't know how long's. You've been here 15 years.
I've been here 18 years.
But at 15 with this television show.
Yes, 15 years. You remember how it started?
Yeah.
Remember when Kinky Friedman came?
Oh yeah, you like Kinky Friedman.
And you had me interview him.
Yeah.
Because he grew up in Houston with a friend of mine, with Jimmy Kessler, who was a rabbinic colleague. But they went to camp together. And Jimmy told me about his friendship with Kinky Friedman, and when he came, I called him. I said, "Jimmy, Kinky's coming," and he gave me his phone number, and we had a reception. And I don't remember.
I do remember. I mean, Kinky's a cool cat, man.
Oh, Kinky is. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I know. I don't even know. I think he just stays in Texas now. He might get around a little bit in the Midwest. I don't know.
He's no spring chicken anymore.
No, yeah.
But anyway, so thank you
Still thinks he is.
because of you. All this happened. Yes, probably. Let's talk not about me or you, but let's talk about the upcoming jazz program, which is, there are so many things, and you've heard me say all the time, how exciting it is to be here, and what the Avalon does and what the community does. It's remarkable. So let's talk about the jazz program.
Yeah, I mean, our part in the community, with the free concerts, in the summer we kind of do a lot of stuff outside, but over the last, 10, 11 years, we've had a jazz festival here.
Yes.
Monty Alexander Jazz Festival was called before. And the pandemic changed things for people, and now it's the Avalon Jazz Experience. Mm-hmm. So, do you like jazz?
I play vibes and marimba. I grew up playing jazz.
Do you know that the guy on Friday night, Dominic Farinacci, is playing... You know what he's playing with? It's a trumpet.
Oh, and he's a great trumpet player.
Well, hold on now. It's a trumpet. It's a trio. He's got a singer with him, Chanel Johnson, who's beautiful, and a great singer, and a powerful singer, and just like, it's just dramatic to watch her sing. He's playing trumpet with an accordion behind him and a marimba. That's it.
No kidding.
That's it. That's all he's got. So I want you to think about like how good. Now he's done this at Birdland. He did this in the West End in London.
Right.
So think about how good that guy's got to be to like, and then they're all great. But just how brave you have to be to take a marimba and an accordion out there with a trumpet to play jazz. So that's the Friday night show. Dominic's been and I think he's doing a smart thing. He's been here for 8 years or something like that, and he's changing the show up, which is totally cool. And I don't know exactly how they discovered each other, but I know they did a show in the West End of London for like a residency over there. And then Marcus Roberts on Saturday.
Sure.
Now, he's like, Wynton Marsalis calls him the greatest American composer, musician that nobody's heard of. In his mind, both of these guys were actually discovered by Wynton Marsalis. Not discovered, but like Wynton saw Dominic playing in Cleveland and said, hey, you need to go to Juilliard. And he saw Marcus Roberts. He says, you need to go to Juilliard. So, they all have a Wynton Marsalis. So, and Wynton Marsalis, when it comes to jazz, is the guy. But I want to ask you, why do you like jazz? Because this is the thing. People, you hear jazz, and you say, Pepsi tried to help jazz. There's a Pepsi called Pepsi Jazz. They just did Disney just did a movie called Soul, which everybody says is a great movie based on jazz. It's an true American art form. I know it comes from different things, but like done here, primarily, whatever your history is. But why? What do you love about it? What do you get about it?
This is an interesting story. First of all, I wanted to play drums.
Okay.
My parents, some people know this story. My parents didn't want to have a drum set in the house.
Right.
So they started me. They found this woman was a very famous marimba teacher in Connecticut. Florence Schaefer. She taught many of the great marimba vibes players of that time.
Okay.
And so I started marimba in first grade. My father was a trumpet player.
Oh my God! Don't tell me your mom plays the accordion.
No, but I grew up playing with another friend down the street. He was an accordion player. We would do.
So it was a common setup?
I don't not that I was aware of, but he and I played all over.
Dude, you've got to come Friday night. You've got to come Friday night to see these guys.
If I don't have services, I will try to.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. It'll be an hour and a half long show.
Yeah.
There's a vocalist. Come by at 8:15, 8:20 when you get whatever you can, but just
sure. So I started serious music, and learning theory.
The math,
the chord structure, the equations.
If
behind,
this, then that.
Exactly. But starting in first grade. So by the time I got to 7th grade, I had a pretty solid foundation in music theory.
Yeah.
Jazz, because of my father, was always a big part of the house. But and people always, in those days, they sort of poo-pooed jazz.
But they still do. That's my point.
Well,
why?
Because they're idiots. There is serious foundational music theory to jazz. It is a legitimate musical form.
Yes.
And it may start off in this sort of non-discrete way, but it doesn't develop that way.
Right.
And I was fascinated by the theory. I loved learning chords. There's more than just major and minor chords. There's diminished, augmented, and sevenths, and
all the scales you learn, the different. Every good boy does fine is totally different in China or Japan or whatever. You learn all those sorts of sounds.
I started playing and learning the chords, and playing with my father, playing with Norman Siegel, who was.
Did you ever lose yourself in a song?
Oh yeah, easy.
Right, and what's that feeling like? When you're all working together, like trying to. That's what's going on, right? You're talking, right?
Yes, there's a conversation, and it's the power of music. And it doesn't have to be jazz. I mean, I find that with Bach or with Mozart.
Right. Sure. Okay. You're right. Yeah.
Or with even more of the contemporary classical artists.
I understand. Yeah. But that's to me is like, I know a lot of people, or I don't know a lot of people. I mean, I know people who I consider myself a music fan. I'm not a music snob. If I just liked one genre, I just liked, metal, or that's all I listen to. That's not a music fan to me. I'm a fan of music. I love.
Me too.
My ears love it.
Me
It
too.
helps my brain. It just I know a lot of music fans that just can't come over to jazz, and I don't understand why.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's just like rock and roll to me.
Well, it's
especially the talking, like the communication, like the eye contact, watching. To me, jazz is about why. It's just as awesome to
music
watch.
is communication. Period.
Well, it is, but if you're
Listen.
no offense, look, if you're Journey, and you've played "Don't Stop Believin'" for 42 years, there's not a whole lot of communication. Yeah, you get in the moment, and they have those moments on stage. I get, this is a whole different thing, where it's going on. I mean,
well, then because of the theory and the chords and all that, then I started to learn how to improvise. And improvising is where you really are able to communicate and have a conversation.
Well, when the dissonance is going on when you're improvising, you're trying to find each. Somebody went somewhere, and you've got to follow them down to get back. Right, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So the dissonance isn't necessarily like, oh, we think we're really cool because we're playing this. Right? I mean, it's a place that you guys went, and then somehow you bring it all the way back around to the end, and it's beautiful by the end again. Right?
I think about some of the great jazz musicians and the kinds of conversations. Paul Carr, for instance, he's a saxophone player from Washington. He just played at Temple for one of the concerts that we had. Just watching, he's a fabulous saxophone player. But the conversation he was having among the guys in his orchestra.
Right. And it's a musical conversation. It's not a conversation you can confuse people. It's just it's really cool to watch. Marcus Roberts is, as Al said in his letter, he's moving his way to national treasure status.
Yep.
He's bringing a 12-piece band with him as well that are all jazz players. He normally plays in a trio with Wynton Marsalis's younger brother.
Right.
But he's bringing, so there's going to be a big band element to it. There'll be a very New Orleans style element to it.
Sure.
But that guy is really someone. He is going to be, along with Wynton, like, the Fats Domino or the Art Tatum or these
whomever.
These are the best, some of the best players in the world. I mean, they are the best in the world.
Wasn't Wynton here several years ago?
Wynton's been here a couple times.
Yeah,
he was here. The big time he was here the Friday after Katrina hit on the Tuesday.
Right,
I think.
right. I remember that.
Pretty emotional night that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Rabbi, it's September 7th, 2nd through the 4th. I really encourage you, if you like music and like a lot of different types of music, look, I'll sit with you and watch it. I mean, or you can sit with somebody else.
No.
Like, it doesn't take more than, one good song to get to, oh, okay, I got it now. And you may want more if you go to New York, or you go to, DC, or if you go to Rock Hall, or it's there, whoever you go, like.
Great music is great music.
Yeah, and
what?
Playing it great, and
yes, and appreciating it,
making you feel it.
What the Avalon brings to the community, what the community has, how it's ameliorated itself and required in-depth, serious art, music. I've said this for a long time. We are fortunate, and you have a big part in that.
Well, I'm fortunate. I'm the fortunate one. I mean, so I'm lucky in so many ways. You know what I mean?
Sure,
I appreciate you saying that.
Sure. Talk about tickets. Tell me about that.
AvalonFoundation.org. There will probably be tickets at the door. I mean, we're looking to sell probably, hopefully 1,000 tickets to jazz over the weekend. I mean, we're not going to get there, so I imagine that there will be tickets left at the door. But you can get them online at AvalonFoundation.org. Please stop by. Again, there'll be 6 bands downtown, 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and they're playing jazz music, but also like contemporary stuff. I mean, when you go to the New Orleans Jazz Festival, it's not all jazz.
No.
It's like Bruce Springsteen headlines the New Orleans Jazz Festival, or
Absolutely.
Sting, or like Michael McDonald or whoever. That's who's headlining down there.
Great Dixieland.
Great Dixie. I mean, yeah. We're gonna have a second line on Friday.
Oh, cool.
It's not gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a makeshift one. But John Beasley is gonna be playing trumpet, I believe, or sax, and he's gonna walk around the block, and we're gonna have some people going around with him on. So try to create something, see what happens, see if we can build an interest. But again, these musicians and this music is so good that, like, hopefully that's enough to draw it. And just if we can get the word out about,
Yes.
Go back and watch Soul, or drink a Pepsi Jazz, or I do want to mention John Thomas, who's on Sunday. He doesn't have a whole lot of press out, so I can't do a whole lot of things about him. He's a up and comer, but he played at Smalls in New York City for 4 years, had a residency there. If you know about jazz in New York City, Smalls is like an iconic sort of place there. So that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The shows are 8, 8, and 4.
What are the dates?
September 2nd through the 4th. It's Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Wonderful.
If you're in town over the weekend, and you have friends, it's a tradition. It's been going on for 11 years, and the Imani Alexander Jazz Festival, those people did a fantastic job with it, and it's an enjoyable time. The audience always walks out smiling and pumped and
moved,
and they just saw great, like they're just like, did you see that guy? Did you see that girl? Did you hear her? So it's that kind of experience, and I think if you're in town, you should check out a show.
I agree.
Tickets are as low as $30. I mean,
not even an issue.
So, anyway, thanks for having me on, Rabbi. Did I miss anything else? Nick, did I miss anything?
No, I think so. I think we're good.
All right.
We have been talking to the Avalon Foundation marketing director and the director of marketing for the theater.
Two titles.
My dear friend Tim Wigan, about the jazz festival coming up.
Avalon Jazz Experience Labor Day weekend.
Avalon Jazz Experience Labor Day weekend. It sounds fabulous. Take advantage. I've been saying for years, the community offers us really amazing things, and you are a huge part of that, not only yourself, but in terms of the Avalon and what the Avalon provides us. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to hearing some really good jazz.
Thanks, man. I hope do a sermon about that.
I have and I will.
The communication between jazz, that's not bad. It's not bad.
Trust me.
Thanks for having me, Rabbi.
We'll talk more about that. Thanks for being on, Tim. And Easton, we will see you next time on the Rabbi's Roundtable.